What up, everybody? Hope everybody's enjoying their Sunday, Sunday football, or whatever you do on your Sunday mornings, afternoons, and evenings. I myself will be enjoying the games. Just wrapped up watching the second episode on the CW for Reality Wrestling. I'll give my thoughts about that in a moment. Now, my last video, I covered quite a bit, and it was a little delayed getting released, or filmed actually, so that obviously delayed the release. But so I thought because I want to maintain my Sunday release dates, I figured I'd still release one at the end of this week, which is what I'm doing now. Hope everyone enjoyed their Batman Day. I know I did, for the most part. Played a little Arkham Knight when I had time in the evening, but yeah, I can't, I don't know. I really, you know, played a little Arkham Knight, and I might start playing Last of Us Remastered. I got that through GameFly, turned in my Destiny, or turned in the game Destiny, and I don't know. I can't say I really got into that game. I gave it a little time, played it. I think I got to level 13 or something like that. Seemed a little repetitive at the beginning as far as locations and missions and such, but I don't know. I really just didn't get into it. Sometimes that happens with games. Luckily, like I said, I have GameFly, so I can turn it in and get another game. So I played Last of Us before. I played it for the PlayStation 3. This is the PlayStation 4 edition, which is remastered. I'll give it a check, give it a look. I beat that, the original Last of Us, on the PS3, so looking forward to seeing what the differences are with the PS4 version. But before I continue or go any further, October 10th, Reality Wrestling will be at the Clear Lake Sports and Recreation Center, our home for the time being, for another television taping. Those who went to the last television taping at Clear Lake Sports and Recreation Center saw a lot of history being made. Specifically revolving around the ROW heavyweight title. Won't really get into that, but you'll have to stay tuned for future episodes. I do know that they aired episode 76 again on the Cube. At times that's happened in the past, where previous episodes of, or like the last episode to view be released was released again. That happens here and there, so that's nothing new. But, so yeah, I did happen to see which episode was going to be on, because they were still building up to Summer of Champions, which is the shows that are airing at on the CW. The first one aired last week, this week. But back to October for Reality Wrestling. October 17th, they debut in spring. Very much looking forward to that. And the 30th, we make our return to the Nacogdoches, city of Nacogdoches. That promises to be a pretty good show. The last show was pretty solid as well. So, just wanted to cover a few things, how the rest of my week went. Little comment from my girlfriend. My chick is a bomb-ass bitch. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. A little inside between her and I. But, so yeah, I covered a little bit wrestling, but basically what I viewed over the week, or the remainder of the week, and it starts with the season premiere of Gotham. Saw that on Tuesday. Mondays are kind of tough with Raw and whatnot, so I do DVR quite a bit. Really liked the day premiere for season 2 for Gotham. The tagline this season is "The Rise of the Villains," and you're starting to see the rise of the villains. Won't give too much away for those who haven't seen it. Now, I will talk about season 1. I, like a lot of people, big fan of Batman and the Batman universe. And Gotham promised to give us before he was Batman. In fact, the very first episode, don't want to give too much away, but hey, it happens. It's the origin story. So the very first episode was the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne, with Bruce seeing it, and introduced what will become Catwoman. She's now known as Cat. She's young. They also have a young Poison Ivy. James Gordon's not Commissioner Gordon. He's kind of new to the force and whatnot. They've got Bullock, and for the most part, it's not the costumed villains at this point. There's you know, kind of a mafia undertone, and the police, how they're dealing with them. There's no superheroes at this point. So season 1 was a procedural, you know, police, more about the police, which I was fine with because it's a different take, similar to what like Gotham Central, as far as like what the police force deal with, as opposed to what the superheroes or heroes deal with. But their take was to kind of introduce a new villain every week, and that was all right. I liked the season for what it was. I always try to give any people that are creating or interpreting the source material their due and their respect, because, hey, if I was given it, I would probably do something a little different, or something not seen by a whole lot of people. So I can definitely respect it, but I think maybe what hurt the first season was the break, kind of it seemed like a long break between half seasons, and I don't know, I really, like I said, I enjoyed the premiere episode for this season. Very much looking forward to where they're going with it, and to see what the future holds for Gordon and the Gotham police force, as well as what the villains are going to do. I think it promises to be a pretty exciting season this season. So yeah, really enjoyed the Steve Austin show with Scott Hall as his guest. It was a two-parter for the Unleashed section of the show. Steve Austin has two versions. He's got his Tuesday show, which is his family-friendly show, so the language isn't very adult. And then his Thursday show, or what gets released Thursdays, the Unleashed portion, and that's for more adult material, I guess, as far as more of an adult, you know, especially with Scott Hall, what he's gone through, his trials and tribulations. But it was great to hear Scott Hall's thoughts on a plethora of topics, you know, ranging from his career, you know, especially what he thinks of Vince McMahon, or what he thought of Vince McMahon, and actually leaving WWF at the time to go to WCW, including his thoughts on the curtain call. I thought it was a really great listen. And Austin tends to have some pretty solid guests. I know in October he's going to have Brock Lesnar. I'm pretty curious to see how that comes about. I know that's going to be on the network and whatnot. Speaking of the network, I actually did watch both parts of Legends with JBL featuring Eric Bischoff. I thought that was a pretty great watch and listen. It's great to hear from Eric Bischoff his thoughts on the war and Monday Nitro, and some of the decisions he made, and some of the mistakes he made, and some of the regrets he may potentially have. So I'm looking forward to future episodes with JBL as he speaks to other legends. A show that's really kind of caught my eye, it's only on episode 2, Moonbeam City. For those who haven't seen it, it's kind of this 80s version, Moonbeam City being the city that's, I guess, got plenty of crime, and it's about their kind of, I don't know, you know, kind of their ego-driven police officers, from Dazzle to Rad to Pizzazz. I can't think of the one assistant's name, but really good voice cast, and I really liked it. Crime Zappers was pretty awesome. To give Dazzle, you know, Dazzle wanted to direct his own segment and whatnot, and it turned into this, just this huge production and whatnot. Really great, some great voice talent, from Rob Lowe to Elizabeth Banks to Kate Mara to Will Forte, who plays Rad. I think he does a really great job. So yeah, now I do watch a lot of wrestling, as everyone knows, so I'll give a few takeaways for the last few shows that I've seen. ROH being the first. Takeaways, Elgin and Silas. Silas had some great, unique agility, and Elgin had some great feats of strength. They had some very intense physical moments. Elgin got the win. Coleman versus ACH. Man, ACH can make an entrance and an exit, and that was one hell of a way to make an exit as well as an entrance. I really enjoyed ACH went over on that, but the 1-inch punch from Coleman and the sell by ACH I thought was pretty solid, especially since it looked like he shrugged it off. Then they went into an offensive sequence, and then after Coleman was dumped to the outside, ACH sold the punch, which I thought was, and he sold it for the remainder of it, so I think it's pretty good. ACH has got a wealth of talent. I think he's a pretty solid guy in the ring, and great personality. He's got a lot of intensity. He's one of my favorites to watch there. And then the main was Roppongi Vice with Okada, who's the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. He went against Goto, the IWGP IC Champion, and the Briscoes. The Goto and Briscoes won. Really liked the triple posed by RPG Vice and Okada. I was really entertained overall by the match, especially by Mark Briscoe. I think his antics are pretty solid. So yeah, those were my takeaways with that. Now I'll get into that in a moment as far as some of the crowd reaction and whatnot. SmackDown takeaways. Let's see. Here are a couple of things that I gathered from it. Kane is proving to still be a valued performer with tremendous range. I mean, being able to do... Some people can complain. I know Abyss has made mention that it's somewhat a ripoff. Well, I would say that it's somewhat a ripoff if Corporate Kane was coming to look for the Demon Kane, and he pretended they're brothers. And it wasn't a situation where they're the same person and we're just kind of in on it. This is a little different. It's Corporate Kane, and he's just playing mind games, I believe. But again, he's showing a tremendous range, because one moment he's kind of happy-go-lucky Corporate Kane, just wanting to do his job, and then he can switch on switch to Demon Kane. I really enjoy his what he's been doing so far. Harper always impresses me. I think his ending sequence with Roman was pretty solid. The Superman punch and spear combo especially, I think that was really well done. New Day rocks. Hey, we want some New Day. Yes, we do. Kofi did dunk on that guy. Now I understand why why Neville and the Lucha Dragons won on Raw. It was great to see Xavier Woods get the win. Let me think, what else? Cesaro and Bo, I thought that was a great pinning sequence from Cesaro, but I also believe Bo had a great cutoff, and he was very innovative with it. So, using the apron, I believe. I know Fit Finley's had done some similar stuff, but really I thought it was still pretty innovative for Bo. Bo impresses me, man. He goes out there, does his job, but he's very physical and very intense, and you can't really ask for more from a guy in that position. The Charlotte, Becky, Natalya, Paige segment. Good to see Natalya, still on television and being brought into this this issue between Paige and Charlotte and Becky. Natalya trying to be the voice of reason. Thought the slap from Paige was awesome. I believe how she's reacting now to things, I think that really suits her. I believe that's probably the better way for her to go, as opposed to just being kind of the happy-go-lucky, just happy to be here, Paige. Let's see. Owens, Rusev versus Ziggler and Ryback. Is it a crazy idea that out of all the guys that were in that ring, Owens has the most potential to be WWE World Heavyweight Champion? I don't think it's crazy. It's just, I really see that. I think Owens could potentially be that guy out of the four. Rollins versus Ambrose, solid as always. A great win for Ambrose. I think Rollins is on a whole nother level. Criticize the run, but you got to admire what he has accomplished. I mean, from winning Money in the Bank, stepping away from the Shield the way he has, being the cause of their destruction, so to speak, and just the run he's had, cashing in the main event, WrestleMania, winning the title, holding the title as long as he's held it. Some people could complain about, well, he lost to John Cena. Well, it's the U.S. Championship. It doesn't really matter, in my opinion, as far as Rollins' run as champion, or the the world heavyweight champion. I think I really enjoy what they're doing with him, and he really shows some great stuff. Takeaways from NXT: Eva Marie and Carmella. Eva Marie wins via countout. I'm really, thank God they had the replay of Eva Marie putting her foot on the rope, because, yeah, just odd. Just odd. I mean, luckily they're kind of making mention of it on NXT. I've heard the rumors that they're not, she's not going to be in the title picture, which is good. I think she needs to develop further before they try to put that title on her, especially that particular title. Say what you want. I think the NXT women's title has a lot of, carries a lot of respect amongst the fans, as well as internally, I believe, because of the work that's been done by those that have held that title. And I could almost see Eva getting the Divas title before she would get the NXT women's title. But of course that could change, because I think with Nikki's work as champion, and now and AJ before her, and what Paige did for the little that she had it, and also with Charlotte as it, and all the storylines, maybe it'll be a new day for the Divas title. I enjoyed Breeze versus Bull. I was pretty interested in Asuka, her debut, and really interested that she didn't really reply to what Emma and Dana were doing or saying. She walked off, had a smile on her face, kind of creepy, kind of scary as well. I think if I'm Emma or Dana, I'd be kind of worried. And the Vaudevillains versus Blake and Murphy with Alexa Bliss for the tag team titles. Another thing, great to see that the tag team titles are getting a main event slot. You would love to see the tag team titles, as well as the Divas or Women's title, get a main event slot on either Raw or SmackDown. I think that would be a good step in the right direction, and something different, and maybe something people could talk about. Maybe, I don't know. It's just good that NXT gives their champions that their due. Little news: Hernandez released by Lucha Underground, in large part to what happened with him going to TNA while he was still under Lucha Underground contract. So he really has no one to blame but himself. Can't negotiate, and I understand, hey, well, Lucha Underground there was no for sure if they were going to have a season 2, but you are under contract, you are appearing on television. I understand you want to get some work. I understand you want to go back, you wanted to get on TNA while you could, but the truth is, they're airing episodes that you're a part of. They have their reasons why maybe they don't want you to try to work for some other television product. So yeah, much as Hernandez and I have been friends for a while and for a long time, he's really got no one to blame but himself. Let's see. Sting updates his health status. Everything seemingly is up in the air, but I think he walked away. Luckily, I think he walked away, so I could see him still being on the WrestleMania 32 card, especially at being in Dallas and all that. So we'll see, but at least he's seemingly okay at this point. But we'll see what the future holds for him. Kind of unrelated note, but man. John Cleese of Monty Python lore, great comedic mind. He was on Real Time with Bill Maher. I watch that show here and there because they do kind of go over news, and I like Bill Maher's take on stuff, and the panel and whatnot. And he has some really great, interesting guests. But what really caught me was this great comedic mind, and whether he was kidding or not, but he was like, "This world is hopeless." And he said it, you know, they had a number of stories that they were covering, but I just thought it was interesting. I mean, to say that, you know, for any comedic mind to say, oh, this world is hopeless. Yeah, sometimes you got to wonder. With all the bad news that gets put out in the forefront and all the negativity that's out there, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't disagree with him. I don't totally agree with him, because I think there are moments where it doesn't appear hopeless and there is hope out there, but at the same time, just yeah, made me think. Oh, totally unrelated from that. Fear the Walking Dead. I think we watched. I think we're a couple episodes behind. As of tonight, we'll probably be a couple episodes behind. We may catch last week's and try to catch this week's. I'm not sure yet. Depends on how much time we've got this evening. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. You know, now you're kind of seeing stuff hit the fan, pretty much. Not that it, I mean, it started with stuff kind of hitting the fan after a slow premiere, building up to this, and now the military's involved. That's how it ended. But I'm really intrigued by the show, and interested to see where they're going. Another show that I'm really looking forward to when it debuts is The Leftovers. Watched season 1, was mesmerized, and honestly, the little piano that they would, the little sad song they would play at certain points on the show during season 1, it just, oh man, you hear that song and it just resonates with you. So yeah, I just, man, really enjoy that show. Really looking forward to season 2 and where they're going. I know they're going to like Jardin, Texas. And for those who don't know what The Leftovers is about, it's basically what if the rapture happened and you happen to remain, and it wasn't like a post-apocalyptic world. The world just kind of kept going. It just happened to be like this. The departed, or the people who got raptured, are gone without a... it was weird because like the first episode of the first season, you have like this baby crying, and this mother like stops her car, and she's on the phone, and you're kind of lost in what she's doing, and in this conversation you hear this kid crying, and she checks on the child, and then kind of goes back to what she does, and then she turns around and the child's gone, and she's like, what is going on? And then you kind of see that being the point where everything kind of happens. And just some of the stories, you know, especially one of the main female characters to like lose all of her family, you know, her sons and daughters and her husband all on that day. Really interesting and very much looking forward to it. Now, takeaways from Impact. I will say the Gail Kim Awesome Kong face-off gave me goosebumps. Just watching those two at the tail end of Jade and Gail Kim, which I really liked. I really liked that matchup between Jade and Gail Kim. The fact that the title's defended often is great. Seemingly every show it's defended, at least with like Brooke and Gail and them. But a lot of history between Gail Kim and Awesome Kong. I enjoyed EC3 and Rockstar Spud. Galloway's really impressed me with his growth as a performer. I really like what he's been doing, the passion and whatnot. He really impressing me. And EC3 going with the what chants, one of the best uses of the what chant during his promo at the end, where Jeff Hardy quits, but he says he fired Jeff. But I wanted to go back a little bit. Tigre Uno defended his X Division title against Kenny King, and I noticed fans seemingly being unresponsive to what was going on in the match. I noticed it on ROH as well. I mean, guys are doing all these great maneuvers, all these great moves, and yet the crowd's not reacting. And I could say, and people could say, well, it's the crowd. Or, you know, if you look at New Japan, that happens at times where they're just kind of sitting on their hands and they're not really reacting. They're respectful. I don't see that so much with American fans, because American fans can be very boisterous and very loud, and as wrestlers, that's what you want. You want them to react and respond to what you're doing. That shows you whether you're doing it right or doing it wrong. But you see guys doing these amazing maneuvers and yet very little response. I mean, Kenny, solid performer. Tigre Uno, I believe, is a solid performer. And on ROH, I mean, I noticed it with Elgin and Silas, and not so much with Coleman and ACH. I don't know. I don't know. You know, to me, it's always going to be the performer and the character and his motivation and the story more so than the moves. And sometimes the moves, if you're just doing it for move's sake, I think you get that kind of reaction, which is no reaction. So yeah. I finally watched episode 76. Not the re-airing, but I watched the one that I had DVR'd. So I wanted to give a few takes on that. This was all building up to Summer of Champions, which again debuted on the CW last week. So Barnes and Pride, very solid. I thought Pride getting the win, and the way he got the win with the chain made sense for them to have a rematch at Summer of Champions. I thought it was a great segment between Eric, Andrew's assistant Jason, and Abel Andrew Jackson. Abel Andrew Jackson's mannerisms, like as he's looking at the two fight it off, he's got that evil grin on his face, and yeah, I thought Eric and Andrew solid, and they really delivered at Summer of Champions, and great to see, I believe his name's Jason, getting involved. Cameron Cole, the coolest kid in the room! That's what I call him. I don't consider him the coolest kid from San Jose, California, or Santa Clara, California, wherever he's from. I consider him the coolest kid in the room. That's what I call him. He took on Kid Ransom. Really thought it was a really good back and forth. Good win for Ransom. But Cameron always impresses me, and he was on, I'll get into that in a minute. Brandon Sky versus Jasper Davis. Brandon continues to impress me, and it was a really impressive win for him. To get the win on a former heavyweight champion in Jasper Davis is quite the feat. Ruthless Ryan Davidson with Abel Andrew Jackson took on Alex Reigns. Alex Reigns got the win via DQ, but I thought those two worked really well together and was really solid. And it's still strange to see Mysterious Q without a mask. He unmasked and spoke at that airing to let people know that he was going after the heavyweight title at Summer of Champions. Speaking of Summer of Champions, before filming this, caught the second episode on the CW. Not sure of the episode number. That's more for Kevin and everyone there in production to let me know. But so this was the second airing on the CW, and it started with Cameron Cole versus Jasper Davis. I thought solid, awesome German by Jasper. Good win for Jasper, getting back on the winning track. And Cameron, man, always continues to impress me. I think he's improving every time he's out there. And I think it's just a matter of time. I think if he really if he goes with that coolest kid in the room and he's just cool, it's a start. You know, it's just finding and furthering, developing the character. So I'll talk to him about that. But I think, you know, I was impressed by his work. I always enjoy Gustavo Mendoza's promos. Speaking of promos, Aiden Cristiano had a really solid promo. His promo work has been really solid when he gets the opportunity to get on to talk. And this build-up between him and Gino has been an opportunity for him to really kind of evolve as a character and show a different side. And I think the fans were really into it. But I'll get into that in a moment. Parviz with X, he took on Sean Studd. Sean Studd, second-generation wrestler, the son of Big John Studd, Hall of Famer with WWE. Solid win for him. But I believe it was a great showing by Parviz as well. That superplex, man, was pretty awesome. But I don't think you've seen the last of these two battle one another. And in the main for this week, it was Gino with Reina taking on Aiden Cristiano. I believe that was a great matchup. These guys' chemistry, they've known each other for a long time, and if you follow their story, you kind of know Aiden had a hand in helping develop Gino, at least early on in his career. So, and then Gino returned the favor by taking Reina from Aiden. I don't know so much if you can take a woman. She has to be willing to go on her own, and she willingly went off with Gino. Gino got the win. Kudos to him. I've said it often that I do see him rising up the ranks because I think the kid's got the total package. I mean, you know, his promos are getting better. I think that was the one area where one weak area, if there was a weak area in his game, it's obviously not in the ring. He's very fluid, I believe, what I see when I watch him. Same thing with Aiden. I think Aiden's phenomenal in the ring as far as from a physicality standpoint. So these two matched up really well. Gino got the win in an impressive matchup. And then said something to Reina. Reina slapped him. Pretty awesome slap by Gino. Gino just went down like a ton of bricks. Which shows the kind of strength that a woman can have when she slaps a man. I mean, the slap. Ah, woo, woo. So after she left Gino, I think she wanted to kind of make amends with Aiden, and Aiden wasn't having any part of it. So great diss by Aiden. So we'll see what happens with Reina. I don't know. She knows plenty of guys, and if she wanted to seek revenge, I'm sure she could reach out to some former partners of hers as far as people that she used to associate with. But who am I to say? So yeah, that's more or less covers my week. Now next week, I don't know if I'll wait until Sunday to film. I may wait. It really just depends on scheduling and what's going on. But and I'm not really sure about my topic. I have a couple of ideas. So I'm going to leave it to a lot of people. One I was going to talk about was just kind of overall anxiety and dealing with anxiety and how I've dealt with anxiety and how anxiety can really plague you and some of the external causes of anxiety was one idea that I was going to talk about. The other one I was going to talk about was kind of the breakdown of character roles in wrestling as far as the babyface heel or hero villain dynamic, and how in some respects it is changing, especially in WWE. There's been this talk of like the old school mentality, which I still believe in, versus kind of this new school approach to some degree where the lines are blurred. And so I don't know. It may be one of those. I'll know probably by Wednesday or Thursday. But if there's a topic you want me to discuss or questions you want me to answer, or if I feel like there's enough of outpouring, maybe I'll do a Periscope. Maybe I'll pick a show and say, hey, let's watch the show together. Or maybe I'll just do a quick 10 or 15 minute one just to kind of see how it goes. So yeah. Let me think if there's anything. Yeah, that's about it for this week. Shorter than normal video, but hey, it's still quite long because, hey, I can talk if you haven't already figured that out. As I always like to end these, stay cool, stay sexy, stay classy. Enjoy Batman Day. Hopefully you got to enjoy it, but it shouldn't just be one day. Just like I don't think it should be just 1 month. Like suicide prevention shouldn't just be September. It should be every day, every month. We want to prevent stuff like that. Or like breast cancer awareness, you should be aware of it every month, not just 1 month a year. Or Black History Month, you shouldn't be just worried about it 1 month a year. It should be all the time, because I think everybody deserves their shine. But yeah, if you're enjoying life and enjoying the journey and just trying to make it through this crazy mixed up world, then you are cool, sexy, and classy. But until the next time, later!